All right.
All right, guys. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to do this interview today with Celeste Gwynn. She has been one of the most amazing mentors to me, and I am so proud to call her my friend. It actually makes me kind of, I don't know, giddy inside to even know her. I admire you so much, Celeste, just how you run your family, your life, your ministry, and then even more your Plexus business. And when I came into the business, I didn't know that it was uncommon to go diamond in 6 months when I went diamond. I thought I had missed the mark actually. When you had gone diamond in 4.5 months, I was actually kind of sad that I was like, oh God, I probably let my leaders down because you were the trailblazer, and I really thank you for that because you just kind of knocked everything out of the way and showed us, how to do it. And so as I start to lead my team, people always ask me, well, what did your leaders do? What did they teach you? And I'm going to share this with people. I didn't actually know you or meet you until I was, I think, a sapphire, maybe emerald.
Yep.
And so the reason that I really want to do this interview is because your duplication and what you teach people got to me. You are my great grandmother. So I am Celeste level 4, and I didn't meet Celeste until I was already a jewel. And so I think that speaks very highly of you and your leadership team because it's obviously working. So with that being said, I have just a few questions that I want to ask you.
Right.
So let's talk about DMO. And if anybody's new that listens to this, that's your daily method of operation. Can you share with us when you first got started, what your daily method of operation was? And then for all the leaders out there, can you also share what it is now and if it's changed?
Yeah, absolutely. First thing about daily method of operation is, we talk about it a lot and it's something that is very duplicatable, but you also have to realize that everyone's looks different. So why mine looks really different from yours, Kendra, you kind of can take what I'm doing, take what Kendra's doing, and then kind of figure out how that fits in your life. I like to say, Jen Hawkins, who is my upline and one of my best friends, she has a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and I think she's getting induced this Friday. So her daily method obviously looks a little bit different from mine, whose kids are at school every single day from 8 to 4 p.m., right? So, mine, while I love to share it and I will share it, I want you to know, kind of take nuggets of what I'm doing and kind of figure out how that fits in your life. I talk a lot about Roz Payne, who's a diamond ambassador on my team. She was definitely listening to my daily method, but the girl was working 60 hours a week while building up to Emerald. She actually retired when she went Emerald, but hers looked a lot different from mine. Even though she was listening to what I was doing, she was working on her lunch break. She was not watching TV from 9 to 11 p.m. She was sleeping less, which we all did too. But hers looked very, very different from mine because of the season of life that she was in. So that's just kind of a little, listen to it, take it with a grain of salt, and make it work for you. You know what I mean? But daily, I still do a lot of the same things that I did in the beginning. I'm very, very big on follow-up, and I think you actually have a question about that. But every single day, especially in the beginning, I would look back through my notebook, and I am not a spreadsheet kind of gal. I would write down everybody that I was following up with a date. And about every 2 weeks, I would follow up again. I would just say, hey, Kendra, you said you were interested, just following up again. Just kind of share a little nugget. If I had already told them about Plexus and I hadn't told them about the money back guarantee, that would be my excuse for following up. Hey, you said you were interested. Hey, I realized, and of course I strategically don't tell them about that because then that gives me an excuse to follow back up with them. Hey, just checking back in. I didn't mention earlier, 2 weeks ago when you said you're interested, girl, we have a money back guarantee. Like, you've got nothing to lose. Like, just looking for excuses to follow back up. I still wish everyone a happy birthday every single day. That's just another thing about engagement. When we're talking about social media, staying engaged with your non-Plexus audience is super important so that you continue to show up in their newsfeed. looking for not just happy birthdays. That's just kind of a broad way to say continue to engage your non-Plexus folks on Facebook. Take some time every day to do that. I'm having coffees. I was then. Something I really want to harp on is we talk a lot about growing our business with social media. And I know you and I both did that, Kendra. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure so many of you are doing that. But you can't hide behind the screen. We talk a lot about building our business on social media, but listen, if I had 1,500 friends when I started this journey, what does that mean? It means I had friends outside of social media, right? So this is network marketing. This is relationship marketing. You got to make sure you're putting yourself out there. You got to make sure you're engaging folks on a daily basis. And when you're out and about in your daily life, you got to put yourself out there. You got to get from behind that computer and make sure you're engaging folks daily. Because listen, my Facebook posts, I may be really great about sharing about Plexus, but nobody knows how excited I am about Plexus till they get in front of me, until they're watching my excitement and they're seeing how thrilled I am about the progress that I'm having with the business and with the product. So that's another part of my daily method is getting out there. And listen, I consider sitting at my daughter's volleyball game a part of my daily method, sitting at my kids' soccer games. Why? Because I make an effort to sit by someone that's not an ambassador. I make an effort to engage folks. As easy as it is to be in our comfort zone and sit by somebody that's got the same passion that we have, that's not going to grow my business, right? So every day I'm responding to folks. I'm messaging folks on Facebook. I'm putting myself out there. I'm engaging folks daily. I'm doing training calls now. So let's talk about how it looks different now. That's kind of what I do all the time. Clearly, I spend a lot more time training now. We talk a lot about duplication. We talk about that 5-3-1, where we reach out to 5, follow up with 3, and train 1. I say mine's kind of like 5-3-78. There's a lot more training going on. Why? Because I want you guys to duplicate. Are you my 3 or my 4, Kendra? Are you
4?
So, people are like, why would you take an hour out of your day? Because first of all, I love to see other people succeed. That's part of what keeps me going, but I'm trying to duplicate. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I don't really care. If I can get on this call with you and motivate and inspire and give some tips that are going to motivate your downline and everyone in this company, then that's worth my time. So training is a huge, huge part of my day now. I love doing these Zooms. I love getting in front of folks. I love seeing other people on my team and be able to look at them on the screen too. And it's exciting. So training is a huge, huge part of my day now.
That's so good. One thing that you said that I want to kind of mention that I actually taught someone yesterday when you were talking about going to a soccer game and sitting beside someone new, I actually said clicks will kill your business. And that's what that reminded me of. You seem like you're the type of person that you don't run in the same circle. Like you are always trying to find people that God's placed in your path to minister to, whether that is just to become a friend or whether that is to possibly talk to them about the products or the business. Is that kind of how you've always been?
Yeah. I've always had a really big network. I love people. And I think that the most successful folks in this business are those of us that love people before we started this journey.
Yeah.
And not that being said, you can absolutely, widen your nets and you can be successful after you started this journey. But, I think something that sets us apart as Plexus ambassadors is we're not the cliche network marketers where we're constantly in the back of our mind trying to figure out a way to squeeze in our opportunity. Yeah. We're really a group of folks that we really care about people, and I never, ever, ever have to walk up to someone and say, I'm a Plexus ambassador. Let me tell you what I do. I'm Celeste Gwynn. My son's number 13. Who's your son? Wow. Awesome. Oh, I haven't met you yet. Oh, you work full time. Okay. Then what do I do? I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I do this Plexus gig. And it's just a natural drip, and it may be that I don't even share Plexus with them till the 3rd soccer game. Right. It's not always a puking pink on someone. It's a constant engaging, and I'm really trying to get to know folks. And it's sincere because I really do love folks,
Yes. And the word that's God's kind of given me is organic. It's just a very organic, natural thing that you are just sharing with people when the door opens.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's so good. All right. So next question, when you are speaking to someone and they have shown interest in the business, do you lead with the business or do you lead with the products? And like, how do you, I think the technical term is, how do you close the deal?
Yeah. So that kind of makes me giggle because, I mean, I think we lead with product most of the time. Now, it's, you know, it's subjective. Like there's no formula. I will say I think we are a very, very product driven company. I think we're testimony driven, and I think that is kind of what, as you say, that's what kind of closes the deal for us. Is really, you know, there's proof in the pudding. There's proof in the pink drink. So I lead with product most of the time. Now that being said, you know, Victor Antonio talks about those 3 W's.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that's the wellness, weight loss, and wealth. If I am talking to someone and they're, you know, I'm not gonna be able to pay my house payment, I'm not gonna be able to pay my whatever, you know, well, here's the thing, you got to kind of like meet folks where they're at, right? So if someone's just distraught over not being able to pay their mortgage, they're probably not going to care a whole lot about my energy level. You know, when I'm telling them how great I feel and they're like, okay, great, whatever, I can't pay my bills, you know, but if I'm like, sister, I got the answer. Like, I'm not gonna force you to do this, but I got a way I can help if you're interested, you know. And it's just kind of you look at that, you assess the situation, and if it's a weight loss issue, you know, you meet them there. If it's a wellness issue, you meet them there. But if it's a wealth issue, you would be remiss not to lead with opportunity. I mean, our comp plan is amazing and it's changing lives. You know, it's changed our lives. So how can I not listen? How can I listen to someone who's talking about being in a financial bind and as a good friend not go, sister, I've got the answer. Yeah. If the opportunity presents itself. So I lead with product most of the time. We're testimony driven. But that being said, there are definitely situations. If it's somebody in the community that is a business person, I'm going to go at them with a, hey man, I've seen you be successful with X, Y, or Z. I think you would be good at this because you're successful with the business that you're currently in. People respect you. You have a huge network and you've been successful with this business. I think you would be great at this. So it just depends on the person, but we're definitely product driven and testimony driven. And that's one of the things that sets us apart. So we have to share those testimonies for sure.
That is so good, because I know when I first got started and I had a lot of people in my network that would always give me I don't have the money. And I got very convicted over the fact of, well, I have an opportunity that would help you have the money, because if $100 and some is going to break your bank, that breaks my heart, because I was there as a single mama and didn't, you know, have that $100. So I got very convicted that when those types of conversations came up, then it switched from weight loss, you know, it switched to wealth. It's like, that's their why, that's their situation, is they want to get healthy, they want to feel better, and they want to lose some weight, but they can't because they don't have the wealth. And so I got very, very convicted very early on that, like, I have to bring the business up. So I'm like you, I don't really lead with the business, but it is definitely it will usually come up in conversation, especially.
Yeah, when the opportunity presents itself. I think you just have to be aware. You know, you've got to be sensitive, you know, when folks are struggling too and say they can't afford it. But I do believe we have the answer, you know, and I do believe that, you know, most of us living in the United States of America, we can come up with the $34 to start the business. I really believe that no matter where you're at, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
You know, and I know people have made sacrifices. I know grown women that have reached out to their mom and dad, you know, I mean, for help to start their business. And, you know, they're jewels in this company now. And I guarantee you, they're glad they did. So, yeah, you just got to be sensitive, but definitely constantly be aware of people's struggles and to meet them where they're at.
Yes, that's so good. I didn't have this on our question, but just because I've never really asked you this, when you first got started, how did you initially talk to people? Because I believe you were in an area like I was where not a lot of people had ever heard of Plexus. How did you really engage with your, power partners, the people that you were like, okay, I want you, and you to come and work in the business. How did you go into that conversation?
So that's a really good question. First of all, I have to be straight up front. You have to remember, I had already lost all my weight. I had been a customer for 8 months. I was already off of medication with my doctor's help. I already had a testimony, and I was already shouting Plexus from the rooftops. So I had a little bit of credibility in that people had been listening to me talk about it for 8 or 9 months before I was an ambassador. So that gives me credibility, because so often I think people are a little standoffish because it's true. Not everyone is sincere when it's sales.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're trying to make money. You're just trying to make money. I wasn't. Everyone knew that I was passionate about Plexus before I started selling it, because I had sent 25 customers to Jen Hawkins before I ever signed up. So, I just have to mention that, because I think that you having joined and gone diamond as quickly as you did, that's insane and so impressive. Me having already had my testimony, it's a little bit easier for folks to wrap their brain around. But I'm like, but I've been talking about it for 7, 8, 9 months before, so that's just something I really want to be transparent and honest with folks when I say the day I joined Plexus, I already had an amazing testimony. And so folks were listening.
Right.
Now, as far as how did I get my power partners on my team, I encourage, and this is one of those duplication things. I called up my friends. I called up my sister-in-law. I called up family, and I just said, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. I want you to do it with me. I'm going to Maui. I want you to be there with me. This is going to be so much more fun if we get healthy together, and if we grow this business together. I want you on my team. So I don't know if you've ever heard of, I'm going back to Roz Payne again, but I called her on day 1. Girl fought me for almost 4 months that she was not interested. And finally, short version of the story, product showed up on her doorstep. She opened the door and was mad at me because she thought I was like shoving Plexus down her throat. Little did she know that her husband was my customer and had been ordering from me for like 2 months. She walks in, she's like, oh my gosh, John, Celeste is sending me this stuff. And he's like, actually, hun, that's mine. And she ended up calling me up and going, okay, John wants me to do this. You guys are all doing this. You guys are all having success with the product and the business. She ended up jumping on board with me. I think it was almost 4 months in, and now she's diamond gold. So she had a huge success quickly because, people trust her. But I called up my folks that I was already doing life with, and I was persistent, and I just said, do this with me. So when somebody signs up under me, I tell them right off the bat, you got to get your mama on board. You got to get your sister or your sister-in-law on board, assuming you have one, and you got to get your best friends on board, because it gives you credibility. With Jen Hawkins, she was having success building this business, but when she got me on board, and then I got Suzanne Clinton, we all went to Oklahoma Baptist University together. We were all in the same sorority. We had credibility with that whole university, because it wasn't Jen Hawkins, the lone crazy Plexus lady. It was Jen, Celeste, and Suzanne, who all have integrity, who we all know, and they're all doing this. So you get your friends on board quickly, and you have immediate credibility with that audience. Same thing I did it with MCA, where we have about 400 students, and I think we've got 10 jewels now, and I think we've got 3 senior rubies. So in the next couple of months, 13 jewels we will have at a school of under 400 students. Why? Because I went in and I got people like Rainey Anderson. I got people like Ariel Post and Roz Payne on board with me immediately. So we had credibility in that school, because we're all friends, but we all have different spheres of influence. Even in that school, we have kids all different ages, but I've got credibility because I got my close friends on board immediately. So that's something you've got to do. You've got to reach out to folks and say, okay, even though we don't totally understand this comp plan, even though we may not even know about all these products, I believe in this. Please do this with me because you're my friend and you trust me. Please do this with me because you love me and I want us to get healthy together. And you just put a little, you put a little pressure on them because they love you and they're going to do what you want them to do because they love you and they trust you.
That is so good. That is pretty much my story too. I pretty much hounded my friends. I mean, I loved them where they were.
Mhm.
What do you do? Or gold? You know, a lot of people they'll get a little momentum, they'll get to gold. Maybe even the company or network marketing itself. What would be your advice to them?
Well, first of all, it sounds kind of tough, but the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how committed you are or how much you believe in this product. If you have 10 Facebook friends, or if you're a recluse who never leaves your house, no one's listening. You can be having all the success in the world, but if you can't influence folks and if you don't have an audience, it doesn't matter. So, what I encourage folks doing that they're like, I believe, I want this to work. I'm posting, I'm going to events, I'm going to training, and no one's listening. It's truly at that point, it has to be about widening your nets. It has to be, you may not go gold this month, but join a club. You may not go gold this month, go to a network marketing event, go to a networking event. It may be, you're going to have to put a few months into widening your nets. When I say that, widening your audience, meeting folks, engaging folks, building your friends list, building your social media network, building your actual network, getting people's phone numbers so that you can share Plexus with them. It may be about building your network for a little while as opposed to building your Plexus business for a little while. Because it doesn't matter how bold you are about sharing if you have an audience of 3. You're going to have to go out and you're going to have to build your audience to 10, to 50, to 100 to really build your business. And I don't just mean on social media. I mean putting yourself out there. Like we talked about, we're coming full circle with this call. Going to your kid's soccer game or wrestling tournament, and instead of sitting with your best friend, sitting by someone you don't know. Mm-hmm. Instead of sitting by somebody who's already on your team and talking about your frustration with your business, putting yourself out there to meet new folks so that you can potentially share about the business and opportunity with them and the product with them. It's really, truly about widening your nets. So, that's encouraging. I hope it's not meant to be discouraging. It just means there's a lot of people in this world. You can meet them, So if your network's small right now, be encouraged that I promise you, you're in the grocery store line with folks that have never heard the word Plexus. You're sitting next to people at work who've never heard the word Plexus. You're sitting next to folks at your kids' activities. They don't know about Plexus. So engage them, friend them, make it sincere. We talk a lot about farming versus hunting. Don't sit next to them and plop down and hand out your business card. Sit next to them and engage them and then share about it naturally. And eventually, have those cards. Give them your business card eventually. But you've got to widen your nets. And that's what I would say to my folks that have the passion, they have the belief, they even have the testimony and the results, but they're not having the business success, is you got to put yourself out there and you got to meet more folks.
No, that's so good. Celeste, you don't know how much I appreciate you. It really, like, I'm so honored to have you in my village, and I thank you for your leadership, and I thank you so much for doing this for my team. I know they're going to be on fire. Like, we are going to have so many people in Hawaii after listening to this, because I really think you gave them some really practical advice. So thank you so much.
Well, hey, listen, I appreciate you guys. Obviously, I love everyone on this team. And, my last thing I want to say is, you're watching this and you guys know Kendra and I and so many of you, we've been successful, but here's what it boils down to. We all have the same product. We all have the same comp plan. Every single person that watches this Zoom or is on this Zoom live right now, it's really about what you do with it. We have a level playing field. Everybody on this call, we have a level playing field. So realize there's nothing unique or special about me. I promise you, I was a stay-at-home mama who believed in these products and just started sharing and started being bold. So take the same product and the same comp plan that me and Kendra have, run with it, and please be with us in Kona this year. Please commit. Don't put a timeline on your commitment. Go out there and say, I'm committed, whether it takes me 6 months or whether it takes me 3 years to get to Emerald. It's worth it.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's a leader in this company that would say, I would not do this for 3 years to get to Emerald, to get to making 6 figures annually. I would do this for 3 years. Everyone would. So do it.
That's so good. I love you, Celeste. Thank you again.
Love you too. Thank you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you.
You're very welcome. Bye.